Hey guys, what's up? So this is going to be a series on my 20-gallon tall planted aquarium that I set up recently, a couple months ago. Got it all cycled and put a few fish in, but before we get into the fish and the plants and everything and the stone and the driftwood, let's talk about how I have my tank set up with like the heater and the filter. So let's talk about the filter first. I have an aqua clear. I think it's a 20, but it may be a 30. I'll put the link for all the equipment I have in the description so you guys can check out everything. So I have the aqua clear in there with some dual density filter pad, which is this is a bit pricey, but I think it's worth the price. And like you get a ton. Like I don't think I'll ever run out of this stuff for the 20-gallon. They give you for like about like $15. You get like this whole roll, which you can cut up yourself, and you can get about like 2 uses out of it per. Yeah, like two every time you clean the filter. Like you can get 2 uses out of the pad, which is really good. So yeah, this and for how often I clean the filter, I clean it once a month. And the number one rule is you never want to clean your filter in the tap water in the sink, because the chlorine will kill all the beneficial bacteria in the filter, and you'll have to like start your cycle over again because there'll be no more bacteria left. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you clean the filter pad in the dechlorinated water that's in the fish tank. And I'll get more into like what kind of like bacteria and like chemicals I use to keep the water like perfectly clean and like pristine, but that'll be in another episode, because this episode I just want to talk about like the setup I have. So moving on to the heater, I have an Oyushi 150 watt, I'm pretty sure, heater in here. I'll leave it in the description which specific one I have, but it's adjustable, which is very important for the rams in here because they're very temperature sensitive, and if you don't have it just at the right temperature, 82, 84 degrees, then they're not going to thrive and they may die off, which is a common reason people lose their rams. So yeah, that's pretty much it on the heater. It's a very good heater, keeps everything at a constant temperature, doesn't really fluctuate too much once you have it dialed in right. It may take a couple of times to dial in, but after that you should just be fine. Leave it there, won't really move. The temperature won't move. So yeah, that's pretty much it on the heater. So some of the fish I have in here at the start were like 4 neon tetras, a honey gourami, and some zebra danios that were unfortunately did not make it because before this I had a blue dwarf gourami in here, and he went after the zebra danios and killed them. But I also had a Corridoras, but I gave those back for the fish store because I wanted to make room for these guys. So let's first talk about the neon tetras. They like to be in a school of at least 6. I wouldn't recommend getting any less than 6, but an optimal school is like 8 or 10, which I have 8 in here at the moment. And the second school of fish I have are the Danio nigrofasciatus. They're really cool looking fish, as you can see. That's where they are right now. They have like a cool black line and some spots on them. And one other thing I forgot to mention, what I have on top of the aquarium. I have a Hydra 24-inch LED planted aquarium light, which I got on Amazon. And I have an aqueous glass lid, and I have an extension in the back for the lid because I have the gudgeon in here, and the Danios are going to jump out of the tank if I don't have a tight-fitting lid on. So that's important to keep in mind. So we talked about the tetras. Let's move on. We talked about the Danios. They like to be in a school of about 6 or more as well. Minimum 6, which I have. I have 6 in here right now. And let's talk about the honey gourami. He's a very peaceful fish. He gets along with pretty much any community fish in the tank, and he likes a lot of hiding places. So make sure you have he's hiding behind the plants and the driftwood back there. Make sure you have like a lot of cover for him because he's a shy fish. And yeah, so he's pretty much easy. All these fish will go just fine with like tropical flakes, like top fin, any standard tropical flakes. And I also have some bug bites, fluval bug bites for them. They do well on this. The rams, I got these mostly for the rams because just I wanted to make sure that they keep their color and everything. And yeah, I didn't want to pick any fish that would need like live food, because I felt like that was just like gonna be more work and harder to maintain and keep up with and expensive. So I just stuck with fish that would do well on flakes and bug bites. So yeah, so like killifish, I really like killifish. Those were really cool looking fish, but I also didn't really want to buy the live food for them, because they do best and pretty much require live food, like baby brine shrimp and stuff like that, and Daphnia. So let's move on to the gudgeon. I don't know if you can see him right now, but he's hiding in the back somewhere. Let's see if he'll come out. Whatever. In the meantime, we can talk about the ram cichlids right there, the German blue rams. I've noticed as they're a little bit can be like territorial. Oh, there's the gudgeon right there. He's chilling under the Nubius. The male can be a little bit. He can chase other like neon tetras and like the gudgeon if they get near, but I don't think that's too much of a problem at the moment. But yeah, they have some really nice colors on them, and I hope to maintain that color. And you can decipher between the two. That's the male in the front, and behind the male is the female. You can tell. I don't know if you can see that, but the female has a little like pink belly, and I hope to get them to mate when they're still juveniles right now, but I hope to see them mating when they get older, and that belly will turn like bright pink when they're ready to mate. And so you might notice if you have a pair of German blue rams, I was a little nervous. They were twitching at first, but I did some research, and I'm pretty sure that's just like normal cichlid behavior. Yeah, so nothing too bad to worry about, but the hardest fish to take care of in this tank is definitely the rams. You want to make sure you have like 0 nitrates, and in the next episode I'll talk about how I maintain the perfect water parameters for them. And they like a warmer temperature, like I'd say like lowest you want to go with the rams is like 80 degrees, but I'd say the best is like 82, 84, especially if you're trying to get them to breed in your tank. And this 10-gallon right here is where I'll be putting the fry. I'll first keep them in like a net up here, in their own little net, because the other fish in the tank will go after them. But I think a net should do just fine with some fry food. I'll talk more about in the later episodes. But let's get into the decor of the tank. I've got some Ceru stone right here, some really nice looking stone I got on Amazon for like $30. Also, I'd highly recommend getting all your decor on Amazon, because the fish stores tend to mark up the price a lot. So $30 was a really good deal on the stone. And I got this piece of driftwood for like less than 20, and it's a really cool looking piece of driftwood. But before you add the driftwood to the tank, I would boil it to remove all the like potential pesticides and tannins from it, and you'll see like the water turn like a dirty brownish color. And then after you get the dirty brownish water in the boiling pot, you can move it to the bathtub and waterlog it, and then after that it's ready to be put in the aquarium. And the Ceru stone may raise your pH a little bit because of the calcium deposits in it, but as long as you keep up with your like weekly 15 to 20% water changes, the pH raise shouldn't really be a problem, and you'll be able to maintain that lower pH, my pH is around like 7.2 at the moment, which is ideal for the fish I have in here, or like most community fish. But the rams may prefer more softly acidic, but they should do just fine around neutral. Let's talk about plants now. I got an Amazon sword in the back. Right there. Very luscious, long leaves. And I've got the Scarlet Temple, which is, it's not as red as I would like it. It might need but yeah, and it's kind of getting, the leaves are getting knocked off by the current right here, which isn't ideal, but I may, if that loses too many leaves, isn't looking too well, I might move it over to the 10 gallon, or it might be a little bit too big, but we'll see how it does in this spot for now. And if I was thinking about moving the Java fern in the back to this spot over here, and because I heard on Google that it does better with like a faster flow rate. It grows faster with a more flow rate because right now it's growing really slowly. And down here we have the Nubius, which is a really hardy plant. All these plants don't need any special kind of substrate, but they just need a good light source, which is the Hydra does a good job at that. And yeah, and also I add this Flourish to it. I add like a third of a cap every Friday, and that seems to do the trick. You don't want to overdose this stuff because it's really concentrated and might harm your plants. But yeah, all the plants seem to be doing pretty well. The fish seem to be liking them a lot, and I'm really looking forward to raising these rams. I'm pretty sure they're gonna be a mating pair because of like how closely they stay together all the time, and the male tends to like nip the female, which is normal behavior. It's part of like the mating process, so that's not really a problem. So let's talk about the gudgeon. He's right. He's hiding behind the scarlet flame. See if we can get a better angle of him. Yeah. He's a really cool looking fish. And all these fish I got at Absolutely Fish in New Jersey, Clifton, New Jersey, I think. Yeah, and yeah, all of them are in good condition, very healthy looking fish. So you may be wondering how I figured out like the optimal stocking for this tank, and specifically like the species and the amount I have. So I used an online calculator. I'll leave the link for that in the description as well. It tells you like how many of each specific species you can have together. So I think I have like around 20 fish, and I'd say like don't follow the 1 inch per gallon rule because it doesn't really make much sense, because for a 55 gallon, which is like more than double the size, like about almost triple, it says you can only have like 55 tetras, neon tetras, which is like completely false, because like you can have so many more tetras in a size almost triple the size. So I just go with like the most important thing being the filtration you have, which this is up for a 30 gallon tank. The filter I have is up for a 30 gallon, so I'd say filter is good. You could, I wanted to, you could also throw in a sponge filter, but for my room that's like really loud, and I sleep here, so I don't want a sponge filter keeping me up at night, because the aerators, no matter how quiet they say they are, they're still like pretty, you can definitely hear them when you're trying to go to sleep. So I have 2 hang on the back filters for my 10 gallon and my 20. What else is there to talk about I'm trying to think. Yeah, so water changes, I do like about 15 to 20% water change a week, and I feel like that's pretty important, because the rams, they especially like fresh water, keeping up with those water changes, keeping the nitrates down. Optimal nitrates is less than 20. Yeah, you want to keep that as close to 0 as possible. A little bit of nitrates is okay, but if you have a rise in nitrates, your rams might be a little bit bothered by that. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up what I want to talk about in this episode. So you guys can just comment, leave suggestions or feedback in the comments. I'd love to read them and see what you guys have to say. I'm always learning about this hobby. I still don't really know everything there is to know about it, but yeah, I'm always looking to learn more, so just let me know in the comments below, and we'll see you guys next time.